correctly, and it let me go live this time.
There you
It
go.
told me 3 times that I don't have permission, and then.
Then here we are.
Yep.
Hello.
Hi, Gail. Okay, here we are ready to go when you are.
Without paper in front of me, I feel like I'm like blind.
I was just looking to see if there was anything.
All right, call to order. Do I have a motion to approve last month's minutes?
I will second.
All right, so far so good. Librarian's report? Was that
We
right?
have to vote.
You have to vote, you have to call for the vote.
Oh.
All in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is what you're. Ready?
He was being very strong.
Oh, and there are, I will pass, here's some cookies. They're almond flour snickerdoodles. So,
Okay. So we did, I thought
All
we
in
did.
favor?
Vote. All in favor? All right.
I,
Do I do that every month?
yes,
Uh,
Me too.
librarian's report.
This month, I, as usual, emailed out a library report. Just to hit some highlights, we have a big volunteer fair coming up on Saturday, October 18th. Drea has put in a lot of effort into organizing that. And we have probably 20 community organizations who are going to be tabling. At the event, they'll be set up in the meeting room, and attendees can explore opportunities to talk with their representatives, talk about volunteer opportunities, and just hopefully make some connections that will benefit the community as a whole. At the end of the month, on Friday, October 24th, we are having a free concert, and we are welcoming back the harpists that we have had in years prior. It's always a big hit, and they do a beautiful performance. So if you are able to come, I would recommend that. The library is going to be closed on the last Monday of October for staff development. I've made arrangements for the Red Cross to be here to do CPR training. That was a staff request. And so it's a response to something that the staff asked for. And in the afternoon, Crystal will be back to facilitate some strategic planning workshops. Our community survey is open, and so we're hoping to have some good data from that, from our staff survey and from our board survey for the library staff to work through and to start developing that plan. Terry, do you want to offer the reminder?
I would like to remind everyone to do your board survey. It's on an email that Haley sent to us, and she's only gotten 2 back.
Well.
I looked at the questions and they really involved,
Thinking.
no, they were involved what you did last month.
So we have that information that we
Just
can
do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
'cause
I wrote Haley and I just
And
asked him, hey,
for
you're asking me if what happened and I wasn't there.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
I mean, it was
okay.
kind of discussed in the last board meeting, but then it was finalized a little bit more in one of the strategic planning meetings that we did. So the questions are a little bit, I mean, they're addressed, but they're a little bit different, and it's opinion. It's,
Sure,
you know, I mean,
It's just-
it's, you know, you gotta think and you gotta.
I think it's the
try and-
prefacing of each question was
That
pretty
was
much prefaced
probably-
by, you know, you
In
did this
the-
activity.
Yeah,
I didn't do the activity.
true, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so I will do it and cross out, I did it.
I didn't
And
have-
you would like to review the notes from the last meeting that
That would
Crystal
be-
took, I can share those out with the group. And that would also be further reminder. Once I get some of them.
Good.
Yeah, okay, we will do
So I have a
that.
comment about that survey though, but should want me to like wait till later.
Is it about the board survey or the community survey?
The board survey.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
So. I don't really know how to say this, and I don't want this to be like controversial in any way. I think I kind of like. People probably like know where I stand on things, maybe not, whatever. when I was doing that, and then I was like looking at the survey, and I was like, I sat down to like do it. And I was like, like in like I got, my thinking hat on and stuff. The one thing that like, and I'm not saying that like what I'm about to say does not apply to this library, like what, like at all. But what I was kind of getting at when we were starting off the thing with the woman and stuff, I forgot her name, sorry. Is like, so we were all talking about community and like togetherness and like collaboration and cohesion and stuff. And when I think about the major events of the library, well, like for this library, it's probably like Mrs. Claus, right? 200 kids or something like astronomical. What I think would be like really beneficial is like kids programs, especially ones that are outside and active. I think the Coos County put on something at like Mingus Park that was like a huge hit. It was beautiful night. Kids from like all around were there, and there was a dude who was like, he's like making plates, go around, stand on sticks, and like having all the jokes and stuff, and it was like, wow, this is like provided by the library. The children librarian over there did the introduction or whatever, and that was great. I think right now, and I was kind of hinting at this when we were doing that discussion, I think a lot of people, when they think of libraries, and again, I'm not saying this of North Bend Library at all, like truly. I think they think of libraries and in our current climate as liberal institutions. And I don't think that helps anybody. So, and I'm not saying about like North Bend or Coos Bay, when I have gone into certain libraries, they're an alarming amount of propaganda. To the point where it's just like, if you're a conservative and you like walk up the steps and you're about to open that door, you're just kind of like, ew. Like, why are you like an alarming amount? And like at a library, like, I don't know, click fingers or whatever, but like, so what I would say is, and it's these days, it's like kind of controversial, but like when you think about our town and you think about like getting more people in, I think of like, if what I think is correct, that a lot of people think of libraries as liberal institutions, at least right now. If people do think that, what's the olive branch? Like I don't think it's any kind of coincidence, being sure like a lot of people celebrate Christmas, but I don't think it's like any kind of coincidence that like Mrs. Claus gets like more people than anything, like 200, like I don't come because it's so packed, like I want to change that this year, but like, so that's my general thing. Like when I like sat down and I was like looking at those questions, I didn't really know how to like put that in a way that was like coherent. And I was just kind of like, I'm just gonna like talk about the meeting, and I can like sit down and I'll like fill out the stuff. But that's like when and I found myself doing it too. And I'm thinking about like how do we like appeal to get more people in? The first kind of people that I was thinking about were, I mean, sure, people that read books, but we're like people that like maybe would be more like liberal minded. And I think like, and that I felt it in myself. And like, I was like, oh, I need to like kind of combat that. So that's just kind of like, that's my piece. And that's like, it's been on my mind, like on and off for even before we had that meeting. And like, if we really want libraries to succeed, to quote the NFL, it takes all of us. And I think that when people consider these topics, and again, not pointing fingers at all, like I was very like, knew what I was about to say when I walked in. I was like, where are the signs? Like I was like looking around. I'm not applying this to this library at all. But there are other libraries that like do a disservice to libraries in general, where like you just kind of like walk up and you're like, man, I don't know if this place really wants me here. And that's a problem. Again, by no means what am I saying this library does that, but I think a lot of people right now think of a library as something liberal, and that's not good. It's not good for us, and it's not good for the world. So that's,
I think I understand.
yeah, I mean, I would just, yeah.
Anybody else have any comments or concerns or things they'd like to share about the strategic planning process or anything that was in my staff report? I think that something that we have discussed as part of the planning process as staff is that it is really important that all the members of our community can see themselves and their families and their place in our library. And regardless of what their personal values are, that they are able to utilize library services and interact with the library and feel like it belongs to them.
For sure, and again,
Yeah.
I am not saying that this library is like a problem. But I do like,
And I would say that that applies across the spectrum of values.
yeah,
Because we do serve a community that has folks on lots of different political spectrum, religious, social, like all of those values we have a really broad spectrum of that across our community. And the library is here to serve all of those people.
100%. Again, this library is great. By no means by saying this library was doing that,
Understand.
but it's like, and I was like nervous to say it. Like I was nervous all day knowing that I'm gonna say this, and like that's me, and like I don't really care, like I'll say whatever. Like I'm sure I talk too much in this meeting, like, but it's something that like I just really think we should just all just like be aware of, and maybe you're aware of it, and maybe you're like, man, you've said the same thing 10 times, you can move on, but yeah.
So, sorry. I just think I'm gonna take the fermentation class in Coos Bay Library tomorrow evening. And there's gonna be everybody there, and a lot of things I show up for the library are everybody. And I think I hear you, that's the kind of thing that, those kinds of activities that bring people together.
Yeah.
Are some, because we all want to be a community here. We really do.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we deal better with a lot of things that are happening at the national level, let's say, and so I think we can model that by having really educational and things for parents and kids and stuff that are so essentially apolitical but there's a lot of people interested in putting up their sauerkraut right now this time of year.
Yeah, or like, well, a couple months ago, I think we were talking about like things that help people with retirement or whatever, like that, like that's like across the board and like applies to everyone.
Volunteering.
I just
The volunteering thing, yeah.
I just don't want people to be discouraged to go to the library, and like if I'm being like truly honest, like idealistically, I think libraries are the place that can change things. That can really like turn the culture around, that like, yeah, people like went to the library, and it's not gonna like happen overnight, but like if like throughout the next couple of years, if like people can go to like libraries and like interact with people that they wouldn't have before, like that's how change happens.
Yeah, and I actually tend to agree with you on that, and I think that's why doing more and more of these educational programs it's really important that we come together as a community and that we just hang out, we get to know our neighbors, we get to see.
Yes.
So I was just gonna ask, are we seeing it, or are you just saying, hey, I've seen it at other libraries? Are any of us getting feedback that our library is slanted one way or
No,
another?
none at all.
Okay, okay.
That's why, again, by no means am I saying this library does that, but I've gone to libraries and today, like I was at a library today, and I was just like, essentially, if I was conservative, I would have felt punched in the face. Like literally, it's like there are just certain things that happen that are just like way over the top. And it like, I really feel it's like not needed. And there are certain, like, if I was of the conservative persuasion, I'd kind of be like, well, I need to go in this building, but I can't wait to get out.
Can you be more specific?
The SWAC library, and that's different.
Oh,
Okay, but it's a college, but it's where people are people. They're 18, 19 years old. Like it's a college, but it's still, if I was, a lot of those people that go to that college are not from Oregon. They're from Montana, they're from Utah, they're mostly conservative.
From Japan.
Right.
From Korea.
A lot of, right. And if I was from Utah and I was religious, and I went up those library steps, I would say, this place doesn't like me.
Like what specifically?
Yeah,
See,
example,
exhibit yourself.
it's,
Like, it's the books that they're promoting, like right off the bat, and it's just like signs that they have, like, it's like essentially like a rally cry against, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people are gonna take it that way, a rally cry, like promoting liberalism. Now, that's fine, because people can promote liberalism, but again, if you're 18 and you're from Utah, which like 40% of those kids are from Utah, you're gonna feel kind of like ostracized. And I don't think that's okay. I think you should be able to go to the library and not feel like slapped in the face. And I think a lot of people are gonna go to that library and feel slapped in the face.
Like, but like a rallying cry of what? Like, is it like,
We hate Christians. or-
have, have sex with animals books, I mean, what is it?
It's like, read these banned books. And it's like, okay, and then when you look at the banned books, it's like, it's a lot of to do over like nothing. It's like, sure, these books are like banned, but like, no, they're not, they're right there. Like
No, that's an issue in college, banned books.
well, they're
Is
not
it-
banned,
and
they're,
it's-
they're right there on the shelves.
Correct.
That's like,
Right, they have been banned across the United States in different places, you bet.
okay,
So
but like,
that's a common display. In fact, there's probably a.
Yeah, isn't it like?
It's really.
now.
it has to
Right
be.
now,
yeah.
Yeah, it's right now. So, yeah,
whatever,
it's one month.
never.
We're not trying to deny your experience, but we just want to know what it is that,
Look, I'm in libraries like a lot, and I know the books that I see, I know what's promoted, I know I know the mood. I talk to kids on a college campus, I'm there every day with my kids serving pretend popsicles and pretend ice cream. Okay, I know what these kids think, and I know how they feel, and they don't feel welcome. They're 18 and 19 and they don't feel welcome in a library. That's not cool. So. Okay, like, just
That's good.
saying my opinion, like, and if we want libraries to get better, we need 18 and 19-year-olds, like, we don't want people to feel like ostracized because. But, sure,
is there something besides the banned books? Because I mean, I feel like that like banned books week is something that's pretty universal in libraries, and conservative people have some beef with banning books too. Like I'm sure they're mad that like Huckleberry Finn has been questioned, I mean, that's not necessarily an issue on one side or the other. I totally get what you're saying, and I think that the community survey we should be either explicitly asking or reading between the lines to find out if people are actually feeling politically alienated by their tax-supported library, because that's pretty important. But I'm just wondering if like, are there groups that meet there that are liberal, or like?
when you walk into a library, certain books are gonna pop out at you. And when I walk into certain libraries, like, I can see where the emphasis is. Again, I'm not saying here. I'm saying I walk into a library and I see what books the books that they're promoting, the new books. And if all the new books are all of a certain persuasion, which happens in certain libraries, that's not okay. And that's certainly happening at SWAG. And it's like, when go into the kids section, look at the new books, frankly. And this is a point it's been on my mind for like years, but like, I'm intimately familiar with every new book at this library and the Coos Bay Library. I know, and if you're of conservative persuasion, you're gonna look at those books and be like, yeah, I'm not taking out any of those. I'm gonna take out that book and that book because they're about animals, and the other 50 books aren't about animals. And that it's a lot. And I don't know, I'm honestly go in the library and just look on the top of the shelves. And like when I go into SWAC and I'm in that building like twice a week or whatever, it's like heavy. And there's just a message. And I've seen the same thing at Coos Bay with like what the kids' books that are on top of the shelves and whatnot, and it's like, I don't think that's okay. Like, it should be for everybody, and they're not. So. Okay, now
So you're
honestly,
looking for more of a balance then?
yeah, I think like. Yeah,
Jared, I think what I'm hearing, and you can tell me if I'm off base with this, is that as we move forward and as we're setting our priorities, that you would like for us as we move through that to make sure that we're considering all the different people that the library serves and that we make it a priority to be balanced.
100%.
That you have seen that here at this library, you have seen other libraries that create concern for you. So you, like, it's an issue that you recognize is out there. And that as we move forward with lots of different services, programs, collections, displays, staff interactions, signage, like all of those things happen in the library and staff have to make decisions about them, that we keep the full spectrum of folks and values in mind.
100%.
Okay. And I, as from, again, speaking as staff and as somebody who has to put the plan together and then work the plan, I think that these conversations are really important. And I appreciate you bringing this up as something that you're concerned about, because I know that you're not the only person in our community who has those concerns. And I think it is good to talk it through and to delve in. Gail, I appreciate your clarifying questions, and I think that this is definitely the sort of discussion that we need to be having as we go through this planning process.
Well, I mean, we're on a board for a reason, right? So.
Now you gotta be really interested in some of the. I've only been in the ag section at SWAC. How many books I was interested in.
Any other questions about the librarian's report?
All right, well, this used to be my favorite part, but things calm down. Library district board.
I don't really have an official report. The library directors met at the Coquille Public Library yesterday for our regular monthly meeting. We did a lot of complaining about our IT services. Because we are still struggling as a whole to have a stable profile for our public access computers. All of the libraries are having a difficult time keeping those up and running with our management software that they require. And so we're trying to work together to get our IT company to be more responsive to that problem. It has to do with computer updates and the fact that they all need to be standardized and work the same way with a lot of equipment, hardware and software. So they have to work correctly with our printer. They have to work correctly with the print release software. They have to work correctly with the timing system. So it's a really, it's a toughie, but we had a great discussion and a modest amount of venting about that meeting yesterday, so it felt good. And Buzzy Nielsen, who is a consultant for the State Library of Oregon, was here yesterday.
How is he doing?
He's doing great.
Good. Good.
So Buzzy was in the area. His primary purpose was attending some tribal meetings that are taking place at the Hopewell casino, and he went on a library tour while he was around. So he visited some of the libraries down in Curry County, which is where Buzzy's actually from. He lived in Langley, and he was the assistant library director here at North Bend for a while before I came. And so he was here. We had a good conversation about the state library and their operations and how things are going on the federal level. They have a much more direct connection to that federal funding because a large percentage of their staff is funded by IMLS federal funds. So we talked about that, and it was a good visit. So I appreciated him spending some time with me here. Then we went over together to the meeting in Coquito.
Fun. Is that it? Anything
That's
else?
it.
Any questions? New business, holiday meeting schedule.
So, the next library board meeting will be on November the 12th. And then the board does not typically meet in December. But for planning purposes, I wanted to have a discussion about that today. And then, if the board is amenable, a motion and approval to not meet in December.
Wow. Considering we didn't meet in August, it feels like. Ooh. So yeah, a motion to not approve in December. All in favor?
I,
Approved. Now I'm gonna have to remember to say Merry Christmas to everyone in November. Last year I did that and then it was like, what about Thanksgiving? And I felt bad for turkeys. Even though I'm publicly anti-turkey. Anything else? New business?
No other new business
Any public input?
and no public input.
Wow. You went by rambling those quick meeting.
Amy?
I just wanted to, I don't know if it's a. Anyway, the furlough. There's a lot of federal employees in the area, and I would be curious if we see an increase in the amount of library usage, because people have free time.
and people who are in the, who are using this opportunity to perhaps seek out new skills or new
Yep.
jobs.
Exactly. Or putting out resumes, working, that kind of stuff. I just would be curious in next month's report if there is a reflection of that. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy right now, so.
No, also, I'll mention that to the other staff, because sometimes, we are chatty at the desk. A lot of times people will tell us what's going on.
Yeah,
So if they have anyone who mentions that, we'll try to make a note of it.
I'm just curious, I couldn't find To Kill a Mockingbird anywhere. And I really wanted to read it, or I really wanted to watch the movie. And then I was like, well, let me go to the Library of Hoopla.
Uh-huh.
There it was. And I was just like, oh my God, what a great movie. And it was just, very, anyway. So the Hoopla resource, in terms of videos and stuff like that,
Oh, it's bad.
it's absolutely fabulous.
I would die without.
Yeah, really.
I'd swoon.
I hate when I run out of my sips.
Yes.
I'm so sad.
Yeah. Long time to the end of the month, right? Till payday comes again.
Well, Haley, I've also heard that there's a movie service called Canopy that a lot of libraries use. Has there been any talk about exploring that as well, or are we kind of at our limits?
We are at our limit
Oh.
currently. There's been a little bit of discussion in our library directors group, not this month, but in prior months, about other services or the potential to move services. Canopy is definitely a popular service in the library industry. And then also there is a new audiobook service. And I know that the Coos Bay Library is considering a change because their Hoopla service is as expected, because they have a higher population, much greater than ours is currently. And it's just a matter of budget limitations. So I think in the coming months, probably before the next budget season, which for me starts in February, we'll take a look at Hoopla usage, what the projections are for growth in the next year, and probably take a look at some of the other services, because our last Hoopla bill was $1,500, and my total collection budget is $65,000. So when we start to get up into that $10,000-12,000, that's a pretty significant chunk of that 65 that we have. And that's to cover all the materials that we purchase. So it is definitely, I know that it is, well, because we're paying for it, we know that it's used. That is the nice part of Hoopla, is that, you know, it directly correlates with usage, which is nice. But it is something we have to think about what the potential growth is for it.
If someone in North Bend, can someone in North Bend check out something on Hoopla through Coos Bay without realizing it?
No, it's
So it's something
verified
that
by
goes
your
through.
zip code.
Okay, cool.
That's in your patron record. So, for example, when I check out items on Hoopla, they are checked out from Coos Bay. That's where my home address
Oh,
is.
okay.
And when Sammy uses.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I had a question. Is there an ETA for getting a new youth librarian? Is that hiring process coming along?
Yeah, it is coming along. We had 24 applications.
Well,
That's
About
great.
11 qualified candidates out of that pool, and we are conducting online interviews for the first round this week and into next week to try to narrow that pool down. And then we will do a second round of interviews that will be probably in person. And then hopefully make a decision and have someone hired in early November.
That's great.
anyone local?
We had a really good mix. We had probably 50-50 local versus out of the area.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they have library jobs right now?
We have one person that is currently employed in a library. We have in the pool that we're interviewing, we have one person who has library experience that's local. And then we had 3 candidates who have degrees in education. So
Would that qualify?
yes, yeah,
Really?
it would. I think they have relevant experience.
Hmm.
So, and then, so that's about half of the pool, and then the other half is a very similar mix of people. Most of the folks who are out of the area do have more library experience, but several of them also have a background in education.
Would you ever like consider like having them do like story time?
Yes, that will be part of the
Really?
second round.
Okay.
Yeah. I think,
I want to know the story times.
I've had candidates before tell me that it's awkward to do story time in an interview, but if you feel awkward doing story time in an interview, you're probably also gonna feel awkward doing story time.
Wait till they meet actual children.
Yeah.
That's good feedback.
Ahead of time, right?
Yeah, we can have time.
Yeah, that's just part of the job.
And you know, usually in the past, when I've done interviews with children, it's like, we do it along with them. We don't just sit there like this. We sing the songs along, we participate.
I would love to attend that. Adult story time.
Yes, yeah.
The people who apply who aren't qualified, is it just because they use some kind of automated send out your resume to every job thing? Or are they people who are like, oh, it'd be fun to be a children's librarian? Or are they like, I want to be a children's librarian even though I'm not qualified to make my mark upon the youth of tomorrow? Like
I would say that in this particular pool, it was all 3 of those things.
okay.
We used a rubric for grading applications that directly tied to the job description. So you got points for your education level, you got points for experience doing story times, you got points for library experience, communication, public service, all those sorts of things. were used to calculate a score for each candidate?
A long time ago, I applied to a library job. And I put a lot of time and effort into it. And it says you need a master's degree. And I had a master's degree in English. And I didn't know there was a master's degree in library and information science. So I I wanted that job. And then like months later, I found out, maybe years later, it's like, oh, so I think people apply not knowing that there's actually a master's for library and information science. And then they just oh, depending on, I didn't look at the job description, but depending on how it's written, they might just kind of plus sometimes it's just sheer determination, I want the job, look at this cover letter. It's the best cover letter ever. ChatGPT knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
Anyway,
And that's why we use the score sheet, is so that maybe somebody has a bachelor's degree, but they don't have the library science degree, but they do have a great cover letter, so they get points for communication, and so it helps. It does allow us to be a little bit more diverse in our applicant pool. And we are considering other factors as well. But we did have in the description and advertisement that a library science degree would be preferred.
Good.
You did get extra points if you have that.
yeah, not to blab about this, but it'd be interesting to know what the, people in education are probably way more comfortable is getting in front of people and talking.
Sure.
But knowing the actual library database systems, all that other stuff it would be but yeah, just the learning curve on either side. Just
Well, it's probably easier to teach the data systems than the comfort
oh yeah.
of speaking or educating.
Having a lot of children
Having a lot
surrounding you, climbing on.
Yeah,
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, whoa, sorry, can't learn that.
Anything else? All right, adjournment.